Here is one small dataset. 10 measurements, that is all we are given, and the job is to predict what happens between the points and out past their edge. Now meet two learners, both handed exactly these 10. The first learner is opinionated. Before it sees a single number, it has already decided the world is close to a straight line. The second learner is open-minded. It assumes almost nothing, and it is willing to draw any shape at all. Given an endless stream of data, both of them could eventually recover the truth. But we do not have endless data, we have 10 points. And with only 10, everything depends on what each learner assumed before it ever looked. Watch what happens with only 10 examples. The opinionated learner snaps a clean line through the cloud, and its guess about the next point is steady and close. The open-minded learner can fit those same 10 points 1,000 ways, so it wanders, certain about the dots it was shown, and lost about everything in between. With 10 examples, the biased learner wins. And it is not close. Not because it is cleverer, and not because it can represent more shapes. It wins because it brought an assumption that happened to match the world, and that assumption did the work the missing data could not. Why does the assumption help so much? Because it throws away possibilities before the data even arrives. Here is the part that surprises people. Almost any flexible model can represent almost any function, given enough capacity. Universality is cheap. The thing that is actually scarce is sample efficiency. How few examples you need before you generalize correctly to inputs you have never seen. And that is exactly what the assumption buys. Out of every curve that could pass through those 10 points, the opinionated learner will only ever consider the nearly straight ones. It has narrowed the space of answers down to a thin sliver. And inside a thin sliver, 10 examples are more than enough to pick the winner. So here is the honest way to think about a prior. A prior is a loan against data you do not have. The straight line learner borrows certainty it never earned from evidence, and it spends that certainty up front, which is exactly why it can move so fast on so little. This is why, in practice, improving the assumption often beats improving the algorithm. A better bias can turn a problem that would have needed millions of examples into one that needs a few hundred. But like any loan, it comes due. If the assumption is true, the loan was free. If it is false, you pay interest. The next scene is the bill arriving. Now push past the edge of what the learner was ever shown. Out here to the right is territory the training data never covered. This is what people mean by out of distribution. And it is the sharpest test there is. A learner that does well on data drawn from the same distribution it trained on has only shown you that it can match the surface. The real question is whether it built the right structure underneath. And out here, the truth was never really a straight line. It curves away. The open-minded learner, for all its wandering, at least held no strong opinion about this region. But the opinionated learner does. It extends its line, straight and sure, right through the place where the world quietly bent. And notice the cruel part. It is not merely wrong, it is confidently wrong. And it is most confident exactly where its assumption broke. A model that is accurate in distribution and fails like this outside, it has learned the statistics of the training set without the structure of the world. That is the shape of the whole bargain. Sample efficiency and out-of-distribution fragility are not two separate problems you fix one at a time. They are two faces of one bet. The bias that lets you learn fast is the same bias that fails you loudly when the world does not match it. Step back, and every learner we could ever build lines up on a single axis. At the far left, strong assumptions, think of a hand-coded rule. It needs almost no data, and it shatters the moment the world steps outside the rule. At the far right, almost no assumptions at all. The limit of that end is Solomonov's universal predictor, which assumes only that the world is computable. It can represent anything with structure, and it is completely uncomputable. Everything we actually build lives somewhere in between. Broad enough to express the problem, narrow enough to learn it from data you can afford. This is the bias flexibility axis. And there is no prize for either end. Every real learner is a bet about where along this line, the truth of your problem actually lives. Viewers of the next token prediction series met this axis in its finale, where the counting methods, the tree methods, and the neural models each took their place along it. This series walks the same line from a different direction. There, we asked how a machine predicts. Here, we read the machine's architecture as a set of assumptions. Every architecture we are about to meet, the convolution, the recurrence, the attention layer, is one more pin pushed into this axis. A specific bet about what structure the world happens to have. So here is how to read every episode that follows. Each one ends with the same card, and we are going to draw it empty now, so you know the 3 questions it always asks. The first row is the bias. The assumption the architecture hardwires, the thing it believes about the world before it has seen any data at all. This is the bet. The second row is the win. What that assumption buys you when it is true. Almost always paid out as sample efficiency, the power to learn from far fewer examples than a blank slate would ever need. The third row is the bill. What the very same assumption cost you when it is false. The way it breaks and where. Usually out of distribution, quietly and confidently wrong. 3 rows. The bias, the win, the bill. Every architecture in modern machine learning is a wager on the structure of the world. And this card is how we settle the account, one episode at a time. So keep it in mind as we go, because from here on every design choice is a bet you can price. Let us go read the bets.